everybody. It's an early morning here at 11 a.m. It feels like an early morning to me. If y'all want, you can come over, or stay where you are. You're in the front row. I'm just going to open up to you a little bit. I feel like I'm closed off to you. I'm moving furniture here.
You can tell Lisa's a mom because she's telling everybody where to sit.
I know, I'm like, you know, it's funny, we were talking, first of all, I'm so excited to be here with Art Alexakis of Everclear, the founder, songwriter, the man behind the music. This is behind the music.
Yeah. You know what, we did it behind the music back in the day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Like the actual one? Did they have
Yeah.
like a cut to dun dun dun?
Oh God, it was so, yeah. It was so
Then your business manager stole all your money. I mean, was there like that kind of thing that happened? Every time anything kind of bad happens or almost bad happens, I always think of that as like a behind the music moment about to happen.
They have to have that arc, right? You know, it's like you're building yourself up, you're hard, and you get up there, you have a success, and something bad happens, and then it resolves, right?
I know. But I'm excited to talk to you. I was sort of thinking about behind the music because, you know, that was such a big show for us and for everybody here in the 90s. But they always, they like to tell the story from the beginning. And I have so many things to talk to you about, but I love your story of the beginning. I feel like it leads us to the songs, which is what we really know of your band. I mean, your songs they're just with us. I heard you play the other night at the pool. I've gotten to see you play. I've listened to your music a lot. And it's very current feeling to me. And it always has the emotion that it had the first time that I heard it. So your music specifically really came from your background and how you started, no? What do you think?
Well, you know, people, by the way, good morning everybody, how you doing?
Good morning.
You know, a lot of people have the misnomer and the belief that everything I write is autobiographical. And because I like to sing from the first person, write from the first person, I like storytellers. I grew up with storytellers. Dylan, even the Beatles, Springsteen, you know, Joni Mitchell, you know, great storyteller. But I would say about a third of my songs are autobiographical. Another third are I take from different things in my life and different characters, and I create a character, and I'll add artistic license to that. And then the other third is just I make up songs.
You're a writer. You craft and you write and you create.
That's what we do, right? And if I can do it and you can't tell the difference of the three songs, I'm doing my job. It's called suspension of disbelief. So, you know, you can tell I went to school, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, I disbelieve you. That's good to hear though, because I know, even for myself as a songwriter, people assume since I'm a woman and a songwriter, everything I write, they're like, she took this from pages of her journal. I'm like, no, I didn't. That would be so embarrassing. You know, I think...
You don't want to know the truth about a lot of stuff from any songwriter, really. But, you know, I do write about things that really matter to me. It's like, I remember in 1997, we had success with our first major label record, Sparkle and Fade, and we were doing the follow-up for it. And I remember putting my daughter to bed, my oldest daughter, she was like 5. And I mean, you guys got kids, right? A lot of people got kids. One of the things when you're poor, or anybody who has children, is you watch your kids sleep, right? It's like magic to watch your kids sleep. And I remember standing in the doorway, watching my daughter sleep, and just going, how does a man walk away from this? How do you do that? And I just got mad, and I got sad, and I didn't go to bed. I went to my little studio office I had, and I stayed up all night, and I wrote a song called Father of Mine. And that's weak. Come on, I deserve better. I'm just joking. But, you know, I didn't know what I had, really, until about 3 weeks later. I was in Los Angeles at Capitol, my label, the round building.
Yes, that's where my husband works.
That's right.
Yeah, Capitol Recording.
And we, you know, and I had a thing that when we signed, we weren't like other bands. I don't do demos. I don't ask permission. I give you a record, you put it out.
Not to digress, but was Capitol Records I remember going into Capitol Records when I was looking at labels, and Gary Gersh, I'm naming names.
Gersh.
Sorry. He had the best refrigerator. He had like all the cool drinks in it that I'd never even heard of, all lined up. But he also bragged to me that it was his idea for a certain rock musician from the 90s that guy's hairdo was his idea. And I was like,
You know,
I don't know about that.
There was a term back then that once you went and met with Gary Gersh, you got Gershed. You know, seriously.
But
I mean, we wouldn't. So I met Perry. Do you know Perry Woods Russell?
Yes.
Okay. I love Perry.
Yeah.
We came in, he didn't even talk about music. He talked about kids. We talked about life. And then he talked about how he loved my voice and he fell in love with my songs, our demos and early albums.
Because you had an album, you had indie albums.
I had one indie album.
Did you have an EP also?
No.
Just indie album.
Yeah.
Which was it's just a real album.
Actually, we did have a demo, a EP. It was European.
Okay.
But and so I loved him. Then we went up and met Gersh, and Gersh is just, so schmarmy and just so charming, and I'm just like, God, I feel excited but yet dirty all at the same time.
It's a major label deal.
And my friend who's in goes, welcome to the major label, brother.
But Capitol's really cool because you walk through those halls and you see the photos of Sinatra and
it's true. You see Sinatra, you see the Beatles, you see the Beach Boys, but then you see people that you don't know. And you're like, and they all look really confident and they're smiling and they're like, they're like I am now, but no one knows who the hell they are 30 years later. And I'm like, I don't want to be like those guys. I want to be like those guys. But real quick about Father of Mine. So I go into Perry's office and he's like, well, so how's the album coming along? And I go, it's coming along good. He goes, anything you want to tell me about or play me? You don't have to, but And he had an acoustic guitar in his office. And I'm like, well, I got this song I just wrote like a couple weeks ago. Want me to play it for you? And I started playing it. I played the whole song.
Like you played the song for him
acoustic,
with the guitar.
Yeah, I played Father of Mine for him.
That's crazy.
And he's a stoic English guy, right? They don't show a lot of emotion, and he's sitting there crying behind his glasses. And then all of a sudden we hear out in the front room where the secretary sat, just bawling, like moaning. And we walk out and there's 3 ladies sitting on a desk hugging each other because of the song. And our guy's like, well, I don't know if it's a single, but it's definitely going on the album. But all that's to the point of like, I think I've never been a guy to write about getting laid or getting high. There's plenty of bands that do that. Dungeons and Dragons, crap like that. I wanted to write about, I came up with
do a prog rock Dungeons and Dragons duo record together. First we have to learn how to play.
Who's going to be the dungeon, who's going to be the dragon?
Dungeon master, I don't know, we'll find out. That will be the first part of the conversation. We did try to get together and write once, but we just ended up hanging out.
Wait,
that's the problem.
Yeah.
But wait, so that's amazing. I love that too because with the music business, sometimes when you get into it, the music business people, it carries you away into this like music business place where really as a musician, it's about the music. It's really, that's really what it feels like. But I love that place where those two, the Venn diagram, where those two things cross and those music business people who are thinking about the business all the time, they have like a true music experience. Like they have that real experience just hearing the song and being in that moment with you.
Sometimes. I think some of them do. I think some of them are just like, they kind of fail their way to the top. But that's why Perry was so important, because it was about the music for him. It was all about the music. And he was a great partner. And I remember when we did Sparkle and Fade, he came up to Portland to listen to the songs, sitting in my basement, right? And we played him all these songs. Then we played him this one song I had just written a few days earlier, and he goes, play that song again. And he goes, what's that song called? And I go, I'm calling it Santa Monica. It's, where I grew up. And he goes, but you don't say Santa Monica in the song. I go, no, I don't. Just like Led Zeppelin didn't you ever have, the titles of their songs rarely were in their songs.
Norwegian Wood This bird has flown.
Yeah, exactly.
This bird has flown.
I know. What does that mean?
Sorry, it's a parenthetical on a Beatles song. You know the Beatles.
So we got into an argument about it, and I'm like, wait till we record it, wait till we mix it, and we mixed it with Brian Malouf in New York. That's where we met.
We met with Brian Malouf. Brian Malouf is amazing mix engineer. He mixed my song "Stay." I missed you, and my first album also.
But you came to him when he was an A&R guy for RCA.
Oh yeah. Oh right, he was RCA.
And you came in with your producer/boyfriend guy or something.
Yeah, he's still my really good friend. He takes all my pictures if you see my album covers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember you guys came in while we were mixing Sparkle and Fade.
Oh my gosh. See, I forget memories. I'm glad you're telling me this. That's so cool. I was there. I got to go in there
I've been
when you were making that record.
I've been cleaning sober for 35 years. I have a really good memory.
And I just don't remember. I can't claim that. Wait, so we're celebrating 30 years. I mean, you've been doing a huge tour
Of Sparkle and Fade.
of Sparkle and Fade.
Yeah.
And you made the documentary.
Well, no,
That was 20.
That was 30 years of Everclear.
That was 30 years of Everclear.
With Matt Pinfield.
With Matt.
Yeah.
Matt Pinfield, who we wish he was here on the ship with us. Well, Matt Pinfield interviewed you. It was a really cool documentary. I don't know if you've seen it yet. You got to see it.
It's on YouTube.
A very young Dave Grohl is in there.
There's some shots of different people.
Really great. It's a really great documentary about the band. And Matt Pinfield, who's a great journalist. He's one of the great journalists.
Matt, who's supposed to be on this tour, and unfortunately suffered a massive stroke. And so if you guys could pray for him, please do. He's a good friend of mine. We've been friends since '93.
Yeah, what did you guys get? How did you become friends?
We were on tour. Everclear was on tour in a minivan that I still don't know if we paid for it at this point. I was paying like $20 a month for a long time, but because we used someone's credit card. Long story.
Wait. Tell me a little bit of that story. You're using someone's credit card.
It's the thing about like when you are driven, and we were poor. I had a kid at home. I was on welfare just to pay for the hospital to have my eldest daughter born, and we got offered a 2 showcases at South by Southwest.
And showcases, South by Southwest, I don't know if you've heard, it's a music festival. Well, it's a music seminar. I don't know what you call it.
It's both a seminar and a festival.
Especially in the late 80s, early 90s, it was a big deal to be allowed to play, to be welcomed to play, to be asked to play at South by Southwest down in Austin, Texas, which is now really big and commercial. It's still fun, and New Music Seminar or CMJ, New Music Seminar in New York City. And then you would have people from record companies, actual business people, would come and see the showcases, which were shows you would play. And also regular fans would come. But it was it felt like a big deal. It felt like, it was like getting a professional interview or something. It was a big deal.
It was a huge deal for us, and we got offered these showcases, and they're like, can you come out, in 2 weeks? And I'm like, sure. And I didn't have any money. I had like $15 in my bank account. And we figured out a way a friend of a friend, his ex-wife was a fan of the band, and she had a credit card, so we, hey, you want to be our manager? Sit in the back seat. And that was that.
Friend of a friend's ex-wife. It's like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
The point is, like, if you're driven, you're going to figure out a way to do it. And you're not always coloring inside the lines, Sometimes you go outside of it. But I'm just joking. We paid her back in spades. She got 5% out of our, when we signed. So.
Serious? I was going to ask that. She got 5% when you signed?
Yeah.
Whoa. And so, but we were talking about Matt Pinfield. Is that where you met? Did you meet Matt at South by Southwest?
I met Matt after South by Southwest. We were in New Jersey. He was the music director at a alternative radio station. That's when he still had hair. He looked like Don Rickles. He's like, oh man, I love this record. I love your band. I love your songs. What do you mean when you're doing it? And also, one thing we had in common was we were recovering addicts and alcoholics. And so that's something we've always had in common, and that's something he's had issues with. But for the last 4 or 5 years, he actually turned me on to doing Zoom meetings for 12-step. And he's been doing just amazing, working all the time, great. So this stroke just came out of nowhere, and it's pretty bad. He hasn't been conscious in about a month. Yeah.
Well, he's revered by the music.
Absolutely,
by musicians.
He's a legend.
You know, because he's one of the journalists who actually loves music. And it's so fun. I said this somewhere else, I don't know where, but just to be able to talk to a journalist who you don't feel is judging you. You feel like you're talking about music you love, and you can tell he actually listened to whatever you made, and that, I don't know, it just makes you feel really alive and excited about music, and you get lost in it, and that doesn't always happen when you're talking to music journalists. Especially in that era.
Absolutely. He just doesn't know just that era. He knows everything, going way back. And I'm a trivia guy. I'm really good about music trivia. Me and Mark from Sugar Ray will battle about that. But we both, like, when it comes to Pinfield, we're like, no. Throw it down, man. That guy knows everything. But he's... aside from all that, and his enthusiasm and his true love of music, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Just a good-hearted guy. So, yeah. So Matt has been a big supporter from early on of us, and just from the days, like I said, we were in the minivan, and then as time went on, you know, and we started doing stuff with MTV, started meeting all the people. You know.
Wait, when
Julie
you...
Brown. Downtown Julie Brown.
Downtown Julie Brown, I know. I remember when I met Downtown Julie Brown for the first time. Even though, funny enough, I was drinking a ton of champagne. That was like one of the moments I was drinking like a ton of champagne.
Why am I not
It was at a
surprised?
Geffen Records, like a Grammy party. We had been nominated, and we spotted her across the room, and we went over and met her. It was very exciting.
That's awesome.
I know, we were like, it was very exciting. But wait, so when you were meeting all the people, and how did you feel about that at the time, music videos? You know, we came from like, what does the band look like, kind of. I mean, I guess we knew what Queen looked like and Elton John and some of the big ones, but a lot of musicians, we didn't think about videos so much.
Well, you know, I remember when videos really hit. I was actually installing cable in Malibu in 1981.
You were putting holes in the
I had
wall?
hair down to here, a Fu Manchu mustache, dealing drugs, but I had to have a real job, and I was a chronic alcoholic, so I was always late. And this is a true story. I got fired on New Year's Eve going into 1982. The last house I did was Mick Fleetwood's house. And I've talked to Mick about this since then. And he's like, that was you? I mean, you were on so much trip, you don't remember me. But I remember he gave me this big old block of cocaine. I can't say that, right? Allegedly.
Can't.
Allegedly. A $50 tip, which in 1981 was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money today.
And I made out with his girlfriend.
You,
He didn't know about that till this week.
wait, when you were installing cable, that sounds like some other movie.
I was installing cable. But the point is, at the time, people...
No wonder my mom wouldn't let us get cable at our house, because, you know, couldn't have MTV. We had to go to Margaret's house.
Where did you grow up?
In Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And we couldn't get a hole in the wall. But now I know why, okay.
Yeah, Cowboys. Real good.
Yeah. Hey. We're not going to talk sports, and we're not going to really talk
We're not going
politics.
to do that.
Okay.
About how the Seahawks are even better than the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, come on.
Anyways, yeah, but we're not better than anybody else, so anyway. But my point was, they were talking about this music channel that was coming to cable on the West Coast. West Coast was the last to get HBO, get all that stuff. And I remember in 1983, I was 20, 21, and videos were just everywhere. And that's when I started thinking visually. And I was going to film school at the time. My poor mom. My mom wanted me like, okay, you're gonna do the musician thing, but at least go to college, and get a degree so you have something to fall back on. So I'm like, cool. So I went to film school, which really pissed her off. Which is even harder to break into other than music.
Yeah, that'll be a shoe-in.
Yeah, right?
Definitely get a job after that.
Yeah, sure.
But you went to film, how long were you in film school? Like a couple years or?
I went to Santa Monica College. I was taking classes at LACC and UCLA, and I got accepted to a couple of film schools, UCLA, USC, and San Francisco Art Institute. And I had to make a decision at that time because, you know, I didn't have enough time. I was either going to go to school, chase women, drink and do drugs, or go to school. And, you know, that's
school.
I made the decision not to go to school.
Oh, I was like, oh, you.
I didn't get sober for another 4 or 5 years. So.
Wow, and so you, but so you were installing cable, and you got fired on New Year's, but you ended up making these really also great videos. So you have so much experience. You're very involved in all the parts of yourself as a musician, as making the records, the artwork. Even now you have like the vinyl re-release, which I saw, which was super cool, with the Coca-Cola bottle was the second. Coke bottle green. You know, they put out vinyl, and the first version of it was this bright yellow, but the second version is the Coke bottle green. Do you like re-releasing your
Coke
albums
bottle
as
green
vinyl?
is the original color of vinyl, even before they put the black in.
Wait, it is?
It is.
I didn't know that.
And it's the most purest, and if you can get it really heavy vinyl, it sounds great.
It looks cool.
But we're coming out with the 30th anniversary of Sparkle and Faith this year, and Universal's putting it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
And there's going to be some extra songs on there, and it's going to be on vinyl, and probably on like green vinyl, because originally when we put it out with Capitol, they put it out on green vinyl. So
you got
it was in my
albums.
contract. They had to put out vinyl.
They had to put out vinyl. That was an unusual thing
It
then.
was. And they only had to do 500 pieces, and they did. World of Noise, our indie record, was they re-released. They did Sparkle and Fade. They did So Much for the Afterglow on blue vinyl. And then when it came time to do Songs from American Movie, Volume 1, which had Wonderful, the song Wonderful, and AM radio on it, they just told me they weren't going to do it. And I go, it's in the contract. And Gersh goes, sue me.
That's bad.
I know.
They're like, I'm going to come TP your house.
We put it, I know.
Something that will annoy him even more, probably.
Oh, I could do worse to him, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I know where the bodies are buried.
Ooh.
He's a manager now, you know.
Who does he mean?
Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he manages God. I'm like, well, that's big. Lenny Kravitz. Oh, that's big.
And people like that.
Yeah. People like that. Just
rock stars.
Rock stars. So I have so many more questions, but I want to make sure the audience has a chance to ask questions if they are awake enough to do it. Yes. Oh, wait. Luke, do you want to borrow my mic? Oh, here's Luke. He's going to come bring you a microphone.
Awesome. The two gentlemen over here have their hands.
Looking for an extra cushion. I'm so short, I'm sinking into this chair. I'm like I feel like I'm sinking into.
You look great. Doesn't she look great?
You're very sweet.
You do not
Alright.
age. You do not age. You
Well,
look exactly like when I first met you, like 255 years ago.
very sweet. Okay.
Hey Art, I just got a quick question.
What's your name?
My name's John. I'm from Portland, Oregon.
Ah.
Would love to know. I own a cable installation company. If you ever need a
I
side
might need a
gig,
fallback.
yeah.
We'll talk about that. I almost lost my house in the fire.
And
so we
about
don't have to talk.
that same period, I worked for Paragon Cable, which was the big one in Portland. Oops, shit.
I think I still owe Paragon a couple of boxes. Remember those big boxes?
Oh, the Z-Tacs?
Yeah. I don't think I ever turned those back.
They're probably still charging you.
My question is, or would like to hear is, talk about your experience in Portland. What were some of the clubs that you liked to play in the Portland area back in those days when you were living there? And did you reference the West Hills as the West Hills of Portland in that song?
In the song "I Will Buy You a New Life," absolutely. And I'll tell you that story real quick. Let me try to make it quick. So I was living in San Francisco. I had a band called Colored Finger. I had a record label called Shindig Records, and I met a girl in Portland on tour. She came to live with me. She got pregnant. We moved to Portland to have the baby because it was so much more affordable. Trying to raise a child in San Francisco, you have to have a lot of money.
Yeah, housing, everything is so expensive in
And
San
public
Francisco.
schools are horrible there. So we moved to Portland and had my daughter Anna, and I was going to start one more band. I was 30 years old, which at that time was ancient, in the rock and roll world. So I was going to do one more band, and I was either going to call it Sparkle. The name of the band was going to be Sparkle or Everclear. And I chose Everclear. And so we started playing the X-Ray Cafe. Do you remember the X-Ray? Started playing, of course, Satyricon. Our first show at the Satyricon, the only people that were there were two of the girlfriends of the guys in the band, not even my girlfriend because she was home with our baby, and the bartender and a lady that sold drinks, like a barmaid. And if you talk to people in Portland, 2,000 people will tell you they were at that first show.
100%.
Right? Oh, I knew then they were going to be huge. No one knew anything. So anyway, we played all summer of '92 in Portland, every club, anywhere. People at like colleges, like at what's the big thing? Huh? Reed. Yeah, we played Reed, and like we play what do you call it? The frats, and we play anywhere. We didn't say no to anybody, and we went through the summer, and I was digging a ditch on a Saturday for my girlfriend's boss, and I saw these guys over the fence going in and out of this basement. I'm like, oh, that's a drug deal. And at this time, I had been cleaning sober for four or 5 years, and the guy sees me and walks over to me and goes, "Hey, aren't you in that band Evergreen?" I go, "Yeah, Everclear. Yeah. I used to see you down at the tavern, Belmont Tavern, where they used to have bands, right?" And we start talking. I go, "So what are you doing over there?" He goes, "I got a basement. Want to see it?" So I just leave that shovel in the dirt. It's probably still there. This is 1993. Jump over the fence and go in and look at, and it's it's old school. It's got 8 crates. But he had really good mics. He had 414s. He had some good mics.
414. Those are like real mics.
Those are real mics.
I still have an egg crate in my storage. I have a stack of egg crates.
Anyone in a band
they last forever.
has had an egg crates on the wall for the studio. Anyways, so I asked him. I go, "How much is it to record?" He goes, $10 an hour. It's 1/4-inch 8-track, and it was over in Southeast, like off at Division on like 40th. Division like 30th, and I asked him if he'd take some money in trade, give me time in trade. So I brought some effects over. He gave me $400. We recorded every song we know, and it became our first album called World of Noise. And we put it out on TK Records, which was an indie label that's not there anymore, in Portland, Oregon. And then we spent a lot of time, and a lot of songs are written about Portland, going down to Old Town. Even though I was clean and sober, I knew that's where you wanted to go if you wanted to get dope, right?
Places like Dante's and downtown. And
Dante's didn't exist yet.
It didn't?
No, Dante's didn't exist.
How about Lotus?
After we got signed. The Lotus, yeah, we played the Lotus.
Yeah. No, you were just a big influence. Portland was such a neat place in that time period for music and nightlife. I mean, it's kind of a shithole now, but it's sign of the times.
Allegedly.
Well, it's gotten a lot better now. We have new management in Portland. Cool.
So. Someone else had a question? Ms. John, can you just hand
Honey, I go to Portland. I go to the
Thanks
Rose
for the question,
Garden.
bro.
See, this is me. I go to the Rose Garden.
What's that?
In Portland, the Rose Garden.
It's absolutely. Don't forget the Japanese gardens. The Japanese gardens are very cool. It's a great place to go when you have a hangover. Huh?
Are you thinking of Bouchard Gardens?
Yeah.
That's
No, I'm talking about the Japanese gardens up in
No,
the
I was
hills.
thinking about, aren't
Up
there
in Washington Park. Yeah.
the Rose Garden?
And the Rose Garden's up there too.
Yeah.
It's the
You live there. I just visit on tour, and I'm like, I need to do something great.
It's up near the zoo there. Yeah. I lived in the West Hills. We'll talk about that.
Okay, sorry.
Hi, what's your question?
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
From where in?
Mount Pleasant, South
I
Carolina,
know
right near
Mount Pleasant.
Charleston. And I've seen you at the Windjammer on the Isle of Palms play on the ocean. And I can't wait to see you there again. I too am a chronic alcoholic, and I'm always late for everything. But today I'm 110 days sober.
Yeah.
And thank you. Applause. But I almost died 110 days ago. I was on
Did
my
we
death.
talk the other day?
We did, yes,
We
sir.
did. We were talking about that, right?
And I'm
you almost
really-
died.
Yes, sir. 110 days ago, I was on my deathbed, and the doctor came in the hospital in the room and said, "If you don't quit drinking, son, you'll be dead in 6 months." But you know, all my organs were failing, but my liver was 90% fine, and that's a sign that God loves me and gave me another chance to live a better life. I'm learning how to smile. I'm learning how to live again. I'm learning how to love again. I've been listening to your music this whole 110 days of being sober. And I typed in on Google Chrome, where's Everclear going to be playing? Because I want to see them. And
On a boat.
Tampa was the closest place. So thankfully I had frequent flyer miles. I flew here and I'm by myself. I was very reluctant because I knew there'd be all you can drink and I had to pay for that. I was very reluctant. I was scared to death. And when I heard you say you had 35 years clean and sober the first time I saw you yesterday, I said, I got to talk to that man. I can't wait to talk to that man. And
You know, there's a meeting here at 3 o'clock every day.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to go. And not to change the subject, but Lisa, I can't wait to decorate cupcakes with you today.
Thank you. Yes.
And that's
Yeah,
what
they had all these
here
things.
with
They're
that.
like, do you want to do wine tasting or bourbon something?
Yeah.
And I was like, cupcakes?
I passed on
That's
all
what
that.
I want to do.
I couldn't go to that.
My wife's like, you're such a slacker. Lisa's doing everything on this tour.
I'm also, doing some nothing.
Well, it's fun.
It's
Well,
fun.
You're on
I
a
know,
boat.
right?
What else are you going to do?
Well, yeah.
I really wanted to ask you, Art, but how do you stay sober, being around all these people, if you don't mind sharing that?
That's a great question. With what you do.
What
Well,
you do.
you know, that's a really good question. So when I first got sober, it was more difficult. But to be honest with you, I was one of those guys for the first 5 years going in and out. I'd go to meetings, I'd lie, I'd take what we call dirty chips, saying, yeah, I've been sober for 30 days or 60 or 90 days when I hadn't been. Because, shocker, I'm an alcoholic. Alcoholics are liars. And not problem drinkers, not people who have problem with it. A real old school alcoholic that almost dies from drinking. Or oftentimes does die from drinking. My oldest sister's first husband, wonderful man. He died an alcoholic. His brother died an alcoholic. His uncles, his dad, his grandfather, all of them killed themselves with alcohol. And when the only thing that saved me was the fact that I finally surrendered to the fact that I was powerless over alcohol and drugs. And that was hard for a guy with a lot of ego to do that. You know, I mean, I acted like it, but early on I was going to meetings to meet drunk girls. Basically, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's horrible. But you talk to just about any alcoholic guy, they'll tell you the same thing. But finally, in 1989, I hit my bottom. I just hit my bottom. I came home from work one day, stopped by a bar because I was hungover, and it was like 3:30 in the afternoon. I'd left work early. I remember walking in the bar and seeing a couple of punk rock girls at a table smiling at me. I walked over there. That's the last thing I remember. That was Thursday night. I woke up Sunday morning in bed at my house with this punk rock girl and my wife, my first wife, wonderful woman, Anita, put up with a lot of crap from me, sitting on the floor just bawling. And she'd been looking for me for 3 days. I was blacking out constantly. It was happening all the time. That morning, that was bottom. I got up, put that girl in a cab, went downtown to this guy I'd met who had told me he'd take me to a meeting. I made him take me to a meeting right then, 11 o'clock in the morning. I went to 4 meetings that night, and in the third one, I had that white light moment of acceptance and surrender, and I never lost sight of it, so that's how it stayed so long. I make mistakes, I do different things, but I've never stepped over that line in 35 years. That's my story.
Thank you, Eric.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Do
It's
we
a
have?
beautiful life.
Anybody else?
Wow, there's lots of questions.
Okay.
Hi,
There's a lady up here who's next after this gentleman. Go ahead.
hi, I'm John from Tampa. Took a short Uber ride to come to the cruise. Talk to me about how you came about writing the song "Wonderful."
That's a good story. So that album, Song from American Movie Volume 1, started as a solo album. I wanted to do something different than just like Afterglow. Me and the guys in the band were getting tired of each other. I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna do a solo record. So I actually recorded all these songs that are somewhere in the vaults of Capitol, and I played them for the guys in the band and the label, and they all showed up on my doorstep one morning, true story, and begged me to make an Everclear record. So I took a couple of songs out, and I know I needed to write a couple of songs, and I had this idea of this song called Wonderful, because my daughter, at the time, my oldest daughter, I was going through a divorce with her parent, with her mom, and watching the pain on my daughter's face brought it back to me of my dad leaving and growing up in the projects with a single mom and all that stuff. So that's one of those songs where it's not 100% autobiographical, but it is. I took things from my own life and watching my daughter and stuff like that, and I created a character. So that's from that third of my songs. And it's funny because I had the ideas and I had sketches and notes about it, but I just couldn't put it together. I had the music, I didn't have a melody, and then I was flying down to LA to actually go into Sound City and hit the vocals on that. And I didn't have the song done. On the plane down from Portland, I wrote the lyrics almost verbatim. And in the rent-a-car, as I was driving there, I came up with the melody, walked in, did it in 2 takes.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
And that to me is God. That's just God. And I acknowledge that. So that, every song comes differently. Some songs come easily. Santa Monica, lyrics to that came pretty easily, but Heroin Girl, I mean different. Father of Mine, like I said, it took me a whole night, but it had been building up my whole life to write that song. Did that answer your question? Did you have a?
Hey, I'm Christy from Spokane, Washington.
Spokaloo.
That's right, Spokansas, but you get a lot of them. Spokompton.
My old bass player, Craig Montoya, is from there. He went to Meade High School.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I got you at G's Prep right now, so. First, I just want to say thank you for coming on the boat and the tour. I was one of those girls that, in the 90s, I was doing the sorority thing and all this stuff, and it was all bubblegum pop, and did not get to appreciate some of that. And these tours and these kind of like 90s things allowed me the opportunity to sort of get back into the music that I could have been listening to. So I thank you for doing that.
Isn't that cool about music? It doesn't matter when it was recorded, right?
Yeah.
I just started getting into jazz about 10 years ago because it was like too wimpy for me for many, many years. Now I love it, but but it doesn't matter. Rock and roll never forgets, right? It doesn't matter. So, what's your question?
So I think, honestly, I'm totally inspired. I think it's beautiful how, you called out your wife and you obviously love her very much. You've got a great relationship. How do you manage
She's okay.
that? Oh, be careful when you get back in.
She's the reason I'm still alive. Come on.
Well, I was going to say, how do you manage to balance that with a rock and roll lifestyle? Growing up single with a single mom as a kid in the projects, and it was rough for me there. I got beaten and raped when I was 8 years old. My brother died of a drug overdose when I was 12. All these things happen. Things happen to people. It just depends on how you process it and how you either use it. It either becomes a weapon against you, or you use it as a motor, right? And I learned through my sobriety, I learned how to do that. Use all that stuff and write about it, and write about things that mattered to me. Because if they mattered to me, I'm not that much different than anyone else. Hopefully mattered to other people too. So that's where that came from. As far as balancing family life, I've been married 4 times. It's not an accident. Even though I was clean and sober, a lot of times I was what we call in the program dry drunk. I wasn't using drugs or alcohol, but I was using sex. I was using control, relationships, anger, all sorts of stuff that create dopamine as a buzz. And when I met my wife now, and she's considerably younger than me, but we've been together 20 years, and she was like, excuse my language, but she's like, look, I'm not going to put up with any of that shit, just so you know. And I love that about her, and I just knew that, we've been together 20 years. Neither of us have been unfaithful. We've never broken up. We have our issues, just like any couple, but we've learned how to grow together as we grow, right? And I think that's the secret. One thing I'm very grateful for my wife, I don't know if a lot of you know it, but I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 8 years ago.
I was going to ask you about that, because that's a big part of your life, balance as well.
It is. That's another thing I have to balance, and I wouldn't be able to do it without her. And when I found out, when I got diagnosed, the doctors told me, and I went out to my car to drive home, and I FaceTimed her. This is in 2016, and we both started bawling, because we didn't know what it was. It was scary. I didn't know what the hell multiple sclerosis. I'd heard the words, and I knew it was bad, but I thought it killed you. It doesn't kill you. You're going to die. I'm going to die with it, but not necessarily from it. And by the time I got home, 40 minutes later, I walk into the house. My wife's got her computer, my daughter's iPad, her mom who was staying with us computer. It looks like she was trying to hack into Fort Knox, right? And she's like, baby, we got this. We can do this. And she had protocols, and we learned about medication before I actually went to a neurologist. So a lot of it was education. But the reason I can balance this is because I've got a partner who's she's in it all the way in. And we're going to go get a couples massage in a couple hours.
That's great. See,
Have you been to the spa?
I have been there, but I go there to get my hair blown out. Because I'm from Dallas, and
Me
we
too.
do that. You got to do that.
I got my hair blown too.
Cute. Your hair looks so cute. No, I didn't get it done today. This is more the beach look. Because I went to the beach yesterday with Lit.
I heard that.
We had fun. We had fun.
You and Julie Brown, right?
And Julie Brown, downtown Julie Brown, and a bunch of our friends. And we waded out into that soft water, soft sand. It was like clay. It was beautiful. We just talked. We came up with the name of when I do my own cruise ship. Actually, Kevin from Lit, I think Kevin came up with it. He said, my boat, when I do my own boat, I know you created a summer tour. You created a tour way before all these other tours.
It did, and it ran for about 10 years, called Summerland.
And you brought all these bands together, like you were saying, and then you get to see all these other bands. It's just great, because you see all these bands you know, and you're excited, and then bands you didn't know, and then you're excited about them. But so we came up, the name for my tour is going to be the Loeb Boat.
The Loeb.
That's really good. I didn't come up with that. I wish I came up with that.
I want to be on the Loeb boat.
You should. That would be so much fun.
Absolutely.
And then you can make cupcakes with me.
Can I get it? Can you send me a cupcake?
Yeah.
Because I'm eating badly. I'm not supposed to eat sugar because of the MS, but I cheat.
Do you know what you can do? This is a secret. I should be telling you this backstage. It's not like a crazy thing. I realized like the second night in at the restaurant where we go,
Yeah.
you can order a side of steamed broccoli and sauteed spinach and
Why would you do that?
I love vegetables.
I'm on the boat, man.
Come on, dude.
Let's see, I had
Balance,
steak for
it's
lunch.
balance.
Can I get the steak?
Yeah, and then like steamed broccoli. I'm like pizza, veggie burger, French fries, steamed broccoli.
Are you vegetarian?
No, I was for many years, but a pescatarian. But I'm not now. But I love vegetables.
That's the thing. I had a salad last night. It was actually really good. It was really fresh.
Okay, well, it's a
Which
secret.
on a boat, you don't expect that, right?
You can order things off the menu, like steamed broccoli.
Oh, you're
We have
fancy.
different- I know. I'm really fancy. We had some more questions here. There's one way in the back over there.
A gentleman, raise your hand, bro.
He's raising his hand. I see him.
Let's give a hand for this gentleman who's
Yeah.
moving the mic around.
Luke. Thank you, Luke.
Hey Art, I actually met Michael a couple nights ago. After the show, his phone was dead and he wanted a picture with you, so I said, I'll take one for you and I'll send it to you, and we've hung out the past couple of nights. But I wanted to ask you, what is your most meaningful Everclear song?
Meaningful to me?
Meaningful to you?
To be honest with you, they're all my babies, right? They're all your babies.
It's hard to choose one. It's too
It
much
is.
homework for him to have to sit here and choose one song. It's like,
Choose
what's your
between
favorite
your
movie?
kids. What's your favorite kid?
Well,
See, we all have them.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to say.
Don't lie.
I don't-
We all have them, but we're not going to tell anybody that.
And there's different things, I'm sure there's songs you really enjoy playing more than others.
I love seeing the responses I get. Play Santa Monica, people lose their mind. Father of Mine, I like Father of Mine because it makes grown men cry. Right in the front, like big tattooed big guys, just sitting there looking all mean. I start playing that song, they're like, look, their little wives are just sitting there going, yeah. But to be honest with you, I've written some songs. There's a song that was not an Everclear song, but a song called Eleanor Young about my mom. I was raised by a single mom, and she died in 2006, and I still have her phone number in my phone. I still have her cell phone in my phone. And, that's my mom. And so I wrote a song about her. And I also wrote a song about getting raped when I was 8 and beaten up by these young men, just horrible experience. And that was a cathartic way of dealing with that I had never dealt with. And I kind of have PTSD, understandably so. Imagine someone doing that to your 8-year-old child. It's reprehensible. And I never told my mother, because my mom was from the deep south. We lived in California, but my mom had a 38 underneath her mattress. My mom wasn't playing around. She would have killed those boys. And so I never told her. And I wrote a song called You, Y-O-U, that really deals with the catharsis. And it's a great song, but I'm never going to play it live. I have a couple songs like that I needed to write and record those songs to get them out. And I shared it with people. There's also a song called Hot Water Test, which is about my MS. I have no urge to play that live.
It's on your solo.
It's on my solo record.
He has it's a great solo record. Sun Songs, right?
Sun Songs.
Yeah.
About LA, grown up in LA.
It's a great solo record, and it has a different feeling. I was like, what makes a solo Art Alexakis record different from an Everclear, which you wrote all the songs on the Everclear record? Like, how can those be different? But it does. It has a very different feel.
Because I'm playing all the instruments.
You're playing all the
It has
instruments.
a different feel because the drums suck. Because I'm playing the
That je ne
drums
sais quoi.
and the keyboards and everything, but and all the vocals. It's just me. I wanted to do it. Kind of an ego thing, but I mean a lot of like.
I tap
Stevie
danced
Wonder
on a record recently.
What's that?
I tap danced on a record
Did
recently.
you really?
Yeah, it's an ego thing. I wanted to be able to do that again, and then
Did you learn how to tap dance when you were a kid?
when I was a kid, like I took tap dance for about a year, and I really loved it. And then I make a lot of kids' music, and in this recent one, it's like old-timey songs. There's a song I love called the Doodlin' Song, and there was a perfect spot for a tap dance solo. And I went back to tap dancing right before COVID, and then during COVID times, I had somebody come to my house once a week and do a tap lesson outside with masks.
That's amazing. I always wanted to learn how to tap dance because as a
You
kid
want to
growing
learn?
up, I would watch Fred Astaire movies like
Yeah.
on Channel 5 in LA.
I'll
know.
invite you. We'll do like a private dance.
I can't do it anymore.
Okay, what
Because
about-
of EMS, this leg
No?
doesn't do what I tell it to do. I tell it to go here and it goes over here. So
Maybe it would be a good, no?
They tried to get me on Dancing for the Stars. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I kind of wanted to go on. I didn't want to go on at all because I was
I
like,
thought you
Dancing
did
with the
go on
Stars.
it.
No, I didn't go on. I didn't want to go on because I was like, a reality show. And then I was like, but I kind of really love dancing and I would love to be forced to dance a lot. And then they're like, I talked to Debbie, the TV newscaster. She said it takes you away from your family for like 6 weeks, and I couldn't really do that. And then I was like, oh, well, after I have babies, I could like lose the baby weight. And then,
Like you need
but then I
liquid.
lost it anyway because I was, eating so many vegetables. And
She's eating my vegetables.
and now I just dance for fun. But anyway, wait, do we have more questions from? Yeah. Here, over here, we've got a question.
Oh, I know you. How you doing?
I'm trying to let my anxiety get to me. And I want to know, ultimately, I want to know the story behind Heart Spark Dollar Sign. So back in like 95, I was starting, I came out of private school, went to public school, right? Well, I mean, I got so many different colors from my family, I didn't really know what racism was, And so, but I had some puppy love in 4th grade, this white boy was hitting on me and everything. And then all of a sudden, he's like, we can't talk to each other, we can't be with each other anymore because my friend said that you're black and I'm white and we're not supposed to be together, but we can still be friends. I'm just like, that was my first experience with racism, and I'm just like, huh? Why? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense.
But ultimately,
It still doesn't
I
make
found
sense.
the one, but I still want to know the story behind Heart Spark Dollar Sign.
Well, I grew up, well, my dad left my dad was abusive, and my mom left him, and so to get back at her, he left his family and moved to Florida and raised someone else's kids and never paid child support. Yeah, and I grew up in a black neighborhood. I grew up in a housing project in LA for about 6-7 years, from the time I was 6 to the time I was 14, 15. I got over that whole thing really quick, I'm so grateful that I grew up like that, even though my mom was from the Deep South, so it was hard for her, right? And it helped, she told me later, she was glad of it because it helped her accept and be more inclusive and stuff like that. But I grew up dating just, beauty. I didn't care where it came from, whether it was black, white, Mexican, I didn't care. I like girls. And I still do, but now it's just one girl. And she, I was dating in my early 20s, drinking a lot. I met this beautiful black girl who was actually half black, half white. And I went to go meet her parents, and her dad, who was black, was pretty cool. Her mom, who was white, wanted nothing to do with me. She didn't trust me, she didn't like me. And then I took her to meet my mom, and that didn't go well with the hillbilly. My mom's a hillbilly. I'm half Greek, half hillbilly. And so I didn't write that song for years, and then before Sparkle and Fade. I'd written it for Color Finger when I lived in San Francisco, but I'd never put it out. And then I redid it, and it was our third single off Sparkle and Fade. Yeah, so that's the story behind that. And I see her. She comes to shows and brings her kids to shows, and she lives in Rhode Island, I think. So she's cool.
You know what? I don't know if we have time for any more questions. That was such a great question. This like went by in just a heartbeat.
Thank you guys for coming out.
All right.
And thank you for coming the other night because you played really late.
You did. It was really fun.
We didn't go on till like 11:10. We were supposed to go on at 10:45. But
I love that 11:10 is so late, but it
it's
is
late.
late.
I don't know about you guys, but me and my wife are usually in bed by like 9 o'clock.
Yeah. That's why I like living in Los Angeles and playing on the East Coast. You're playing so late at 9, but it's like playing at 6.
I am so not rock and roll in most ways. And I was talking about that earlier. Someone asked a question. When I was a kid, and when I was 4 years old, I saw the Beatles the last time they were on Ed Sullivan, 1966. I snuck out of my room, and my parents were watching it. You know, they were sitting there on their, divan on their mid-century modern furniture, having cocktails, watching Ed Sullivan, and I was hiding behind the couch. And when the Beatles came on, I lost my mind. I just ran up there in my Bozo t-shirt and my underwear, and I just started dancing. And I never wanted to do anything else but play in a rock and roll band. But as I grew up, I never really wanted to be a rock star. I didn't want that. I wanted to make enough money that I could have a house, white picket fence, wife, kids, the things I didn't have, right? That's what I aspired to. And since I was living in basically poverty, government housing, having a middle-class lifestyle, that was like 4 levels up. I couldn't even comprehend the whole rock star thing, which in the 70s was crazy, And so that's where a lot of, I think, my songs and my values come from, and that's one way I balance my life. That's what's important to me. Family, sobriety.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Art. It means so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys for coming today. I hope to see you everywhere on the ship today.
Loeb.
Yes. Thank you so much, y'all.
Thank you.